Welcome to Forum 360. Thank you for joining us on our global outlook with a local view. This is Leslie Unger, your host today. I have a saying I use often with my coaching clients. There is no such thing as little things or big things. All things have the potential to be big at any time. Another saying I use often is that good things happen when you go through your front door that wouldn't happen if you stayed behind it. Come with me today as you meet a guest and an unplanned set of circumstances that prove both of those theories correct. I was at a favorite location in Washington, D.C., Palmer Alley. I was wearing my bright magenta coat and purse, implementing my belief that I want to be memorable. I was just window shopping and petting dogs before we drove home. When a woman commented on my pink, I commented on her pink, and my walk continued. About an hour or so later, she came up to me, handed me her business card, said, I think I have some good photos of you. I'm a professional photographer. Email me if you would like to see them. And I got some of the best shots ever. Of course, I followed up with her. And so today you get to meet Jenny Nordstrom from Alexandria, Virginia. The exchange didn't change my life, except that it added fun to it and the opportunity to hear from a talented professional photographer. So welcome. Now you know how we met. Welcome, Jenny, to our show.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Thank you. The first burning question we want to know is, are you related to Nordstrom's?
I wish.
When I wanted to remember your name, I would always go Nordstrom's, Bloomingdale, Saks, Neiman Marcus. I know it's one of those.
I know. Apparently Nordstrom is like Smith in Sweden, which is where my heritage is from. It's very common.
Oh,
and
interesting.
I'm afraid I cannot get you a discount on shoes.
Okay, that's the important question.
I have scared the heck out of some employees, though.
That's okay too. That could be okay. You say on your website, Jenny Nordstrom Photography, that color is at the heart of your photography. Let's be honest. If I was wearing beige instead of magenta that day, would you have taken my picture?
Oh, definitely not.
Definitely not. Okay.
Well, partly because you matched your surroundings, because
I
you were
did.
underneath the pink lantern, so it was just completely perfect.
Yes.
So yes, color is exactly what catches me wherever I am, whether I'm in my home city of Washington, D.C., or if I'm in Morocco or Mexico or wherever. That's always what grabs me first.
So what role does color play in your photography? You say that all colors are your favorite color, but talk to us about what role does color play?
I would say that color is really, like I said, the heart of my work. I mean, it literally dictates everything from the time of day that I photograph to the side of the street that I'm on, to even the places that I visit. Because if someone tells me you have to go to Morocco because it's super colorful, I take that very seriously, and that definitely dictates part of what I'm doing. And literally, because color is the most important thing to me, I don't like shadows and light. A lot of photographers are more interested in that kind of thing, and I don't want any of that. So literally, if I take a lot of pictures of doors, people kind of know me as the door lady, and if it's a sunny side of the street, I don't even walk there. I just walk on the shady side, because that's going to give me nice, even, beautiful colors, because that's always what I want.
So let me ask you, there's a picture that you took in Thailand, and there's a lot of blue and there's doors, right? So what, Thailand, I was in Bangkok. I mean, probably there's a photo op every 10 steps or something, right? Like, what drew you to that photo and that door?
Well, I always say Thailand is either great, glorious golden temples, or like chaos and like mess and like snarled electrical lines and
Okay.
things
Hmm.
falling apart.
Hmm.
It's like it's one or the other. And I had this really amazing tour guide just sort of driving me around for a couple of days, which I could actually afford in Thailand because it's so cheap there. Uh, and it was like I think it was the end of our second day, and I was like, I am exhausted. Let's go home. We need to go back to the hotel. And he's like, no, 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 we have to go to one more spot. And he said it's the perfect time of night, and that's where he took me. It's called the Blue Temple. I don't remember
Hmm.
the Thai name, but it's and it's in Chiang Rai, Thailand, which is up north. And the second I got there, I was like, oh wow, because we call it the blue hour in
Hmm.
the photography world. It's just after sunset, but before it really gets dark.
I never
And
heard that term, the blue hour.
yeah, yeah, golden hour is right before that, and then we call it the blue hour, and it also has a very magical feel for photography. It's not the way your eye sees it, but it is the way the camera sees it.
And that's anywhere in the world?
Yeah, yeah, that's a universal thing.
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
and it's really kind of just after the sun goes down and everything just has this very magical, not quite dark, not black yet. It's can and so for this blue temple with all this amazing gold ornate details and then the blue sky right behind it, it makes for a huge impact for that particular image.
So you
And
said that your eye doesn't see it, but the camera does.
yeah.
The blue
No, your
hour.
eye, 'cause your eye will still see, because our eyes adjust in a way that the camera doesn't. Even if you try to accommodate, I mean, if you do the right accommodations, I suppose your eye would see it a little more like or the camera would see it a little more like the eye. But it's specific to photography, the blue hour. That's not something that you really notice when you're
Interesting.
looking around at that time of the hour.
That's really interesting.
Yeah,
So
it's
let me
it's beautiful.
let me ask you about Palmer Alley. So you said that you live in D.C. Your studio is
Uh-huh.
in Alexandria. Is that correct?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
So what brought you to Palmer Alley on that day? Is that something
That
that
is
you
one of those
go
places.
often to?
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay.
It's because it's always changing. They always have different things in that alley where they're changing the lights or changing the colors and just it's very seasonal. So and I just and it's an area that I'm always wanting to that I didn't really feel like I was capturing that I'd never sometimes it's a challenge, right? You have a place that you know kind of what you want it to look like in your photographs, but you don't quite get it one time and so you go back. So for me, I think for me that was a going back day. I was already downtown. I think I was doing some headshots. I do those too. Uh Downtown and I was like, I'm on my way somewhere else. Maybe I'll just stop off real quick. I was driving right by. I'm very spontaneous. This is actually sort of the other core of my photography work is it's color and it's spontaneity. I'm a scavenger hunt kind of gal. So for me, it's just a matter of turning a corner and finding something magical. And sometimes I go, no, it's already there, like Palmer Alley, and sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just discover it. And that's part of the joy for me.
Now,
Is like,
you
go ahead.
say, yeah, you say on your website that you're inspired by travel.
Very much,
Okay,
yeah.
so we're sitting here in Northeast Ohio, and some people travel and some people may not, have been out of their county or their city or their state. So tell
Yeah.
us what inspires you about travel.
I mean, the world is so big and so beautiful. And I just think it's so important also as humans to get to know other cultures. I lived in Switzerland for 6 months when I was 8 years old. And that just had an enormous impact on my entire worldview, especially
Because,
as a because it just was like, oh, people live in completely different ways. The Swiss culture is I don't know, like very clean and fastidious and generous and I don't know. It was just so different from where I lived and it just and plus we went to a bunch of other countries during that time. We went to Italy, we went to France. It really I think I'd been to probably 6 or 7 countries by the time I came home and had really opened my eyes to the fact that there are so many cultures and that they're all fascinating. So I think it's important as humans to get to know other cultures and to understand that people live in different ways, but we're all the same, you know. Like even in some place very different, like Morocco. I keep coming back to that, but it's just such a different kind of country from where we are. People think of it as this very foreign place, but like, what I noticed is that like people are doing just what we do. They're like parenting their children and eating dinner with friends and doing their laundry and, working. I mean, it's the same. It's just different. And
Now,
and I think it's good to have that universality of understanding.
when you mentioned Morocco, and we have one of your photos of Morocco. I was
Mhm.
in Marrakesh, and it was a great experience. It's a great experience. It's very different, but like your photo happens to be a lot of blue in that photo, also like kind of like Thailand. But when like we look at that and we say that's beautiful, but in reality, like it could be decaying or it could be broken sidewalks, right? But we see that. Um, what is something that you can learn by traveling that perhaps you can't learn by staying home?
I mean, to me, it's very visceral. It's like being in a place like, you know, where the sounds and the smells and the food, everything about you, it's a completely different experience to be somewhere rather than to look at I mean, and I say this as a photographer, like photography is capturing a moment, but it's not the same as like the fact that there were like 50 people walking past me behind me when I took that very serene picture.
Mm-hmm.
There was markets right around me and like
Mm-hmm.
salespeople and probably donkeys.
Yes,
I think
horses. I
Morocco
like
is
the
very
horses
intense
in
that way.
Marrakesh myself. But tell us,
Yeah.
was that something that you just took that moment, or was that something that you knew, then you waited there to take that? Or is
That
that,
particular image I did know. That was in Chef Chaouen, which is the very famous Blue Pearl of Morocco. Really beautiful town, the whole thing. Top to toe is blue. It is like
oh,
floors, ceilings, steps, everything is blue. It's beautiful. And that is probably the most iconic spot. Everybody takes that picture. Of course, mine's the best one,
of
but
course, yes, of course it is, yes. Uh huh, uh huh.
but yeah, so I knew, and I had waited actually a long time for nobody to be walking up and down them and for the
Mm-hmm.
light to be right.
Mm-hmm.
My hotel was actually at the top of those steps. So I was able to take pictures 3 or 4 different times. Uh but I don't know, it's a very iconic spot, and sometimes that's for good reason. And all those beautiful colorful pots, they know, even the people who are there, they kind of wear red and orange and yellow because that's the complementary colors to blue, and so they pop. And they have a lot of spots like that where they have a little extra color to just vibrate against the blue. It's a beautiful place.
Well, you talked about, how long it took you to take that photo. And one of my very first clients in coaching was an artist that worked in mosaic tiles.
Oh
And
yeah.
she went from doing like vases to, she did huge walls that ended up being endowment walls. And it
Mhm.
would take her, say, a year, okay, to make
All
this.
that.
But when she would be asked, how long does it take to make something, I taught her that there's only one answer for that, and that is a lifetime. Because
Yeah, right?
everything that you do, it's because if you took it in 5 seconds, but it was a lifetime that led you to that place at that moment, at that time of day, with that particular camera. But
Absolutely.
how do you answer? Do people ask you how long did it take you to make something, or how to shoot something? Like, how do you easily convey all that goes into what we just see as that moment on in your photo?
Yeah, I mean, it takes a second, right? Except not,
Right.
because, I spent years developing my technique and even just developing the way that I travel so that I know where I want to go. Uh, I mean, it's funny because people always ask me what kind of camera I use. And I always tell them I'm a Nikon girl. It's a great camera. It's not the latest and greatest, but I love my camera, but it is not as
The,
important as technique. Technique is
mhm.
actually way more important than camera. And I think that's part of it for me. Like my camera is an extension of my hands and my eyes now. Like it's instinctive. And so yeah, so like it is the years and years and years that I've been doing the photography that has led me to be able to do it in 1 second. And then
Yes.
I also am someone who edits my photographs. I make no bones about that. I'm obsessed with color, so I always enhance my colors, and I've started to experiment a little bit more with other editing. I always say my computer's my paintbrush. I'm an artist first
Hmm.
and a photographer second, actually, I would say.
Okay.
That the reality is where I start, but I'm more trying to give you a feeling and a sense of place
Hmm.
and magic, right?
Hmm.
I'm not really looking for, I'm not a photojournalist,
Yes, and you
you
did,
know?
and I think that's a really good explanation because I would say when I look at the photo that you took that you shared with me from Palmer Alley, I feel magic
Hmm.
that I don't feel in my daily life, but I look at that photo and I feel magic.
Yeah.
Today we are talking with Jenny Nordstrom, a professional photographer from the DC area that takes pictures all over the world with an eye for color. From a photographer's eye, what would you say? It may be unfair, it may be like asking your favorite child, but the most interesting place that you've been, because you've been to many, you have been to Japan and you have been to Iceland and you have been to Mexico, you have been to so many. What would you say is the most interesting place for you to photograph?
Interesting or inspiring? I mean, there's so many. I do always say it's impossible to decide my favorite. People ask me my favorite all the time. Um, because I actually think it is my superpower to find beauty and magic wherever I am.
Well, okay, so let me
That
ask you. Okay, stop right there and hold that
okay.
thought. Okay, but let me ask you. You say when you talk about beautiful and ugly, you use a parenthesis for ugly. What
Hmm.
makes something beautiful or parenthesis ugly to you or to the majority of people?
So I have this whole work body of work I call beautifully ugly, and it generally is stuff that's falling apart, uh, highly textured. There might be graffiti. Um, and because I'm fascinated by color and texture and also just like a story, I love that stuff. Not everybody likes that body of my work, but I love it. And I'm always fascinated by, just trying to find something. I think that's part of my challenge actually, is to find something that most people would just walk right by as something that's, not worth looking at and to make you look at it in a different way and say there is beauty there. It's in the color, it's in the balance, it's in the way that I frame it, the composition. So I think, beauty really truly can be anywhere. You just have to look at it the right way, even if it is like traditionally ugly. That's part of that's part of my mission, I think, as an artist, is to make you look at things differently.
Recently, I stumbled upon an artist, architect, Antonio Gaudi,
Oh,
who
Gaudi,
Gaudi,
wonderful.
100 years
Love
ago,
him.
right, designed in Spain, one of its most
Yeah.
popular tourist sites to this day. But he
Yep.
died kind of homeless and decades later became popular. So, we hear about starving artists, but what is life of an artist like today?
I am really lucky. That you mentioned that I have a studio in Virginia. So I work at a place called the Torpedo Factory Art Center, which is this amazing, huge old warehouse that has been converted to artist studios. This happened about 50 years ago, and there's hundreds of artists under one roof. And we're right in the heart of Old Town Alexandria, Virginia, which is a great area. Very vibrant, lots of restaurants, the beautiful waterfront area. So we get a lot of foot traffic. And it has changed my life. It's completely changed my life being there. I'm so grateful always that it has allowed me to be a full-time artist, to sell my work, to support my travel, to support my family. And um, it's not easy. You know, income is up and
Mm-hmm.
down and inconsistent. There are days which are much tighter than other days. Uh, and yet I mean I still think it's just incredible that I'm able to do this. I would never have known that I would have the chance to be a professional artist full time. And when you're self-employed, you don't really say no to anything. I still do some portrait photography. I still do some graphic design work here and there. That actually, honestly, that's the life of an artist, is cobbling together
Mm-hmm.
your income from a million different places.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's any way around that, even if you are lucky like me and have a place where people are actually finding you.
So you have a studio and you have a website, right?
Yes.
And your website's a beautiful place to go and visit. Even like if you just want a mental time out, you've got from Iceland, as I said, to Spain, to Mexico. But the website allows you a further reach, but it doesn't allow you to connect with the people that visit it. Your studio allows you to connect with the humans that come, but then you're limited to who comes. So, is it a combination? How do you, yes.
I mean, I encourage people when they walk in and clearly do like my work, that like my people find me, right? That's the beauty of the public space. I encourage them to sign up for my email list, which is I work really hard to keep it as a nice list, not a spammy list. I send out stories about my travels, shows that I'm in, things like that. And I'm also on Instagram. So those are between those ways that sort of helps keep me in a little more public eye. I post things on Facebook, so it's always a battle, especially also the nature of being self-employed means you never get everything done. And I sure don't. And I'm always behind on, like I just went to Scotland and I hardly posted any of the photos from that, it's been a month since I've gotten back. So I'm going to be later gramming those at some point. uh, but that's just what it is. You're trying to do everything yourself. Your website's always a little out of date and your Instagram's always a little behind.
But you would still choose it over a quote 9 to 5 job.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I'm so lucky. It is amazing to be able to do what you love and to come in every day and have people. It's not just a validation thing. It's also like a sharing thing. You actually
Yes.
get to like, I talk with people all day long about travel and about photography itself. And, you know, I really think that it's such a gift to see your own work through other people's eyes and to see them get it. That's just a beautiful experience.
So speaking of people that, okay, take your work, right, and they buy it and they take it home. So
Uh-huh.
I've gone to Puerto Vallarta, Mexico for 25 years. And there used to be a woman, Martina, who owned a gallery, and she had a saying that after you buy art, you don't tell it where to go. It tells you where it wants to be.
Mm, I like that.
So talk to me about, like, can you buy a piece for this particular place in your home and know that it's going
Sure.
to work? Or does the art tell you where it wants to hang?
Well, that's an interesting point. I think that, yeah, I think it's a little bit of both.
Both.
I mean, I definitely have people, I actually have this little service I offer because people a lot of times don't know the right size for the space or they don't know whether it's going to look right. So I have people take a picture of their wall and email it to me with the measurements of the wall. And then I just Photoshop different sizes and show them what it would look like. I think that helps.
Yes.
I think that sometimes you bring it home and you're like, actually, maybe it should go on this other wall because you're right. Sometimes the art tells you it's not in the right place.
We laugh about it. If we buy something, we'll go, well, it told me it wanted to be here. See if it tells you the same thing. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Or sometimes you discover that two pieces of art go together that you didn't expect, and so they wind up together on a wall. I don't know. It's definitely a process, and I think actually that interior decorating is also an art form into itself, and so sometimes you just have to experiment and move things around until they look right. That's definitely part of the deal.
how do we compliment an artist? What is a compliment that you would like to receive and why?
I mean, it's always nice if someone says I love your work,
Okay.
but I think the biggest compliment you could just really tell. It's almost nonverbal. Actually, the biggest compliments to me are when I can tell someone can't keep their eyes off of one of my pieces, and they're just fascinated, and that's a beautiful compliment right there. And I guess maybe that's really the verbal side of that is I see what you're doing. I get what you're trying to say because it is, I think particularly photographs, all artwork, but I think particularly photographs, and maybe even particularly mine, I feel like I'm telling stories. that a really great image for me is one that you feel like you can walk right into and that you feel like you're there. Because I am trying to tell the story of a place every time I travel. And actually, I don't necessarily know what the story is until I get there. For me, that is part of the magic of the discovery. I'm waiting to see what is the story of Scotland or Japan or Mexico
Or
or Morocco.
even Washington, D.C.,
Absolutely.
right? At
Absolutely.
cherry
Because
blossom
people
time.
think the story there is politics, but there's way more than that in
It's a
DC.
beautiful city.
A beautiful city.
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Here at Forum 360, we talk about a global outlook with a local view. Our guest today really represents global through her photography and her travel. She also represents local through her appearance here on Forum 360. Today's show happened because we both went through our front door that particular February morning. We each made contact with a stranger other than our phone, and we were open to follow-up. It didn't hurt that we both like bright pink. How can you bring a little more joy into your world by going out your front door? Thank you for joining us, to Jenny Nordstrom and our audience on Forum 360 for a global outlook with a local view.
Forum 360 is brought to you by John S. and James L. Knight Foundation, the Akron Community Foundation, Hudson Community Television, the Rubber City Radio Group, Shaw Jewish Community Center of Akron, Blue Green, Electric Impulse Communications, and Forum 360 supporters.